Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Ashmore Arboretum. Today on the homestead, it is the middle of January. And what that means here on Ashmore Arboretum is that it is time to go ahead and prune our fruit trees. Right here behind me, we are in our fruit orchard, and I believe I have 21, 22 trees, something like that. It appears a deer has killed a few of them. I'll have to see the extent of the damage when I get over there. But before we get started, I want to go over a few of the tools that I'm going to be using today in the orchard. The number one tool I'm going to be using is a set of pruning shears. These are pretty well essential for pruning any of your orchard and your orchard maintenance schedules. What I do with this is I sanitize these with a 91% alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, prior to use. So that way I'm not spreading any sort of bacteria or fungal infections between the trees. And I also make certain that I sharpen it with either a ceramic or a diamond stone. Now this diamond stone has a 400 grit and a 1000 grit. This is all I need for my purposes. I'm not needing to get this thing, shaven sharp, but I need to make sure that it's not going to tear up the cambium, and that just adds an extra infection court for diseases and pathology. Yeah. I just want to make sure I'm not tearing up the cambium, because that just adds another infection court for disease and fungus to enter into your tree, and we're trying to avoid that. Now, I looked at the extended forecast, and the next few weekends it's going to be showing rain, but for the remainder of this week it's going to be nice, sunny, and in the mid 40s. So that's why I chose today to come out here and go ahead and get on these trees, and I'm going to take you along on this process and show you how we prune up our orchard. There's a few things to keep in mind when you are pruning your fruit trees. Number one, you need to know about what type of fruit tree you have. Is it a stone fruit? Is it not a stone fruit? Is it a peach? Is it a pear? Is it an apple? A cherry? And you need to do a little bit of research on how you're going to prune these trees. Now, the majority of my trees, I like to keep an open center on, even though sometimes that's not common to form. Apple trees are normally a central leader or a modified central leader. Same with pear trees, and the majority of your other trees are open base shape or open center style pruning. And that's to allow airflow into the middle of your tree and to keep from getting fungal and bacterial disease, and helps dry out the dew early in the morning. But here we are at an apple tree, and this is a tree that was established on this homestead when we purchased it, gosh, almost 6 years ago, I guess now. And it has taken some years to get this under control, but it is under control now. Now you see we have these long whips coming off the top. These are water sprouts. I'm going to cut these off. These do not add anything to the tree, and they're really just sucking out nutrients. Same with these epicormic sprouts. Well, you can see that. These epicormic sprouts down here at the bottom. Those will have to go. Now, when you're pruning your trees, you want to make certain to remove the CAC, crossed, acute, and center. So any limb that is crossed, any limb that does not have the proper form to form a roughly 45-degree angle, so if it forms an acute angle or an obtuse angle, I'm going to cut it out. And anything that grows back towards the center is going to get removed. If you keep crossed limbs in your orchard, you're going to end up with rubs, and let's see if I can find one here. You're going to end up with some rubs that will eventually open up an infection court. Now this pear tree, you can see all these water sprouts. And what a water sprout, here, let me get you out of the sun. What a water sprout is any of these that's growing straight up off the tree. Every one of those is going to get cut out of here. And that's going to help bring this tree back into form. And I am going to bring this tree down a little bit in height. It's still a little bit tall. I had to stop cutting on it last year because we had taken more than a third of the canopy, And we try not to take more than a third at a time. It's just don't want to put too much stress on the tree. Now we did get pears off of these 2 pear trees last year. That is the first time we got actual pears off of them. And we are in the process of, I've already sprayed them once this year with the neem oil. I will try to get them sprayed today if I can after I get them cut. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but it's in the works. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on hyperlapse, and if I find anything else. Oh, yes, one more thing you need to cut out is anything that's dead, dying, diseased, downward, any of those, they need to get cut out. That does nothing for the tree. And then you're going to step back and you're going to look at the shape and the overall form of your tree. But again, I'll bring you back in a few moments after I get started on this apple tree, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Stand by. When I say cross branches, this is what I'm talking about. We have this branch coming from over here, and it crosses this one. And this creates a, let's see if we can get it to focus here. This creates a rub right there where my ring is. You see all this? And that opens up an infection court for pathogens to enter into the tree. And that's what we're trying to avoid. So I'm gonna go ahead and clip that out, and I'm gonna clip that off.
Hey Dad, there's like some mites gonna bite on.
And you always want to go to an outward facing bud and clip. And I like clipping at a 45-degree angle so it helps water run off. And here we have some more cross branches. But something else I want to talk about is heading back. All right, now this tree is coming under form. So we're just going to give it a haircut. And all the way around, we're going to come around, we're going to trim back last year's growth, get it back under size. I don't want any of these trees more than about 10 foot tall. So I'm going to put you back on hyperlapse, and I'm going to show you how that's done. All right, here's the finished product on this first tree. You see how we brought the structure of the canopy down by about 8-9 foot. So now this is a probably an 8-9 foot tall tree. We took about half the top of it off, which those are all just whips of epicormic sprouts anyway. We cleaned it up. Got rid of the water sprouts at the bottom. Opened up the center. And we just gave it a good old haircut. Something else I want to talk about is do not leave your scraps in your orchard. If by chance any of these are diseased or have a fungal blight or anything like that, that can spread to your other trees, and that's not a good thing. So you want to go ahead and take these out of here when we're done, which I have my brother here from the Nutty Gnome Homestead. He'll help me get this stuff out of here a little bit later today. What are you working on down there, bub?
I'm pruning up one of your pear trees. This is the one we worked on last year. It was majorly overgrown when you bought the place. So we come in, gave it a little bit of a haircut. Folks, you want to remember not to take more than a third of the tissue in any given season. So if you got an overgrown orchard on your property, you want to make sure that you just take a little bit at a time. It's a multi-year process.
How long have we been working on this?
This is the 4th season.
Yeah, this is
last year they actually produced fruit for the first time.
Yeah.
And you can see where we cut last year and the year before, and they're starting to get them back under control.
And one thing you can notice on this tree especially is you can see right there where we topped this tree. And we topped it, what was that, about 9 foot?
Yeah.
We topped it about 9 foot. and it grew probably another 10 foot above that. That's all going to get removed this year. Every bit of that's going to get removed. I don't want these trees more than about, well, like I said, 8 to 10 foot tall. Any more than that, you can't hardly reach the fruit. It becomes a bit of a problem. We're going to remove all the epicormic sprouts, and if I have to in the spring and summer, I'll come back out here and I'll thin out a little bit more. So I appreciate you coming along with us today, and until next time, thanks for watching.